Set all this up. Happy days, happy days. Ding dang do, ding dang do. Last day of the week. How good is that? Oh, where we at? Who we got? Morning, Todd. Morning, Michael. And well, Steph, I can't see him. Peter, I can't see him. And morning, Danny.
Morning,
Work
Gary.
me way down the
Scruff.
list.
Morning, everyone.
Oh, you
Morning,
say
everyone.
bollocks.
Merry Christmas.
All the best to you, kid. Oh,
be
Peter's
Easter.
decided to be the invisible man today. What's the matter? Did you have a flashback when you saw Sean Connery, did you?
Yeah, my computer's as old as me. It's taking time to load the video.
I actually saw that on the History Channel. They had the ancient computer set in stone, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Make that one. Actually, it's true.
I'll tell you what, it was bloody hard work, mate. Lifting the old lintels up, Jesus, that was.
Well, Jesus, you knocked about with him, didn't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We were contemporaries.
So when you're leaving Scruffy, Jamaica, right?
I'm going to Jamaica on Tuesday night. Well, I'll be here with you guys Monday, Tuesday. As soon as we finish the meeting, I'm pretty much heading off down to Manchester. Staying the night in Manchester and flying out 6 o'clock in the morning. And then I'm going to have a jolly old time of things. I'm taking a rig with me. So just to basically wind up the Aussie bunch. I know we've got one of them in already. So I'm getting me on bloody sunshine.
I'm not going to say anything today. We've got clouds and wind. Fuck that.
Oh, it makes me feel so much better because we've got a bloody hurricane here. It's wild. But yeah, we were meant to be going to New York. That was the plan. Till Joanne figured out that it's like -10 out there. And she's like, oh, I don't want to go if it's cold. Well, where do you want to go? I want to go somewhere hot. Right, okay. So I was either going to go to Thailand, because that's hot this time of year, or Caribbean. And 2 years ago, we were meant to go to Jamaica for our 10th wedding anniversary, because that's where we were married. Well, obviously,
okay,
COVID hit, wiped all them sort of plans up in smoke. So thought, oh well, we'll go there. We'll do it now, because later on in the year, got to go see the Hatted Wonder when he settles into his home in Bali. So I thought, well, I don't really want to go to Asia twice. So that was kind of the thought process behind it all. What was it like when you were there? Was it red hot? Because it looked nice. Well, you whereabouts in the Caribbean did you go, Michael? Was it St. Kitts?
Bonaire.
Bonaire. Was it warm?
Next to Curaçao. It was. It's so nice because it's like the difference between night and day is like 4 or 5 degrees. So it was like between 25 and 30 all the time.
Happy days. That'll suit me down to the ground. It really will.
I promised myself next winter is my last winter. After that, I'm only going to go to warmer places in the winter.
You're only going to warmer places in the winter? Hold on. What you mean? It wasn't warm when you were there. It looked warm.
No, but now it's winter and I'm at home and it's.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Horrible.
Yeah, I'm with you. Sorry. Oh God, we got
so
Jedi
January,
Steph in the
February.
car.
I don't want to be here. The summer is okay. Summer is nice.
I can see the attraction. I mean, my dad, he always buggers off for about 6 to 8 weeks into Tenerife.
Yeah,
something like that. What you do when you're sort of retired and you've got the time. You just up sticks and go. And EasyJet this year, because I'm not rightly sure what sort of cost of living crisis is where you live, but here it's a big topic. And the sales pitch is it's cheaper to go on holiday than heat your house. So So that's what they did.
If you can rent out your house, then it's even better.
Well, it's even better, yeah.
Well, nobody can afford the rents over here.
Well, there's that as well.
Good morning, everyone.
Oh, here he comes. We've had,
Morning.
you're
Can you
safe
imagine what
today, kid. We've had the weather
Find it.
report.
Oh,
Oh,
who was nice and gave you that?
well, the bearded wonder up in the top corner.
Yeah,
Mr.
cloudy
Todd.
and windy.
Oh, it's cloudy where I am, but not windy.
Yeah, I'm in house sitting at Sorrento at the moment, so yeah, it's blowing a gale.
Okay, yeah, I'm still up in the hills, so not really blowing a gale here. Just cloudy. I think we just had one drop of rain.
One
Oh.
drop.
Well, that's it for January.
Well,
I was
looking
gonna
out
say,
of our
that's-
window, we could give you enough for a lifetime. We really could. So how was everybody today? Are we all sort of had good weeks? Are we ready for actually talking of today? The news starts about 10 o'clock today. There's
Okay.
Euro news, runs straight into non-farm payroll, and then it runs straight into a PMI at 3 o'clock. So today is going to be choppy as hell. First Friday of the year, obviously first week of the year, and first non-farm payroll. So all merry hell will break loose today, hopefully, because it'd be nice to see some big moves. So just be careful.
Well, the DAX is having a nice little drop at the moment.
It sort of needed it, to be honest. It needed to pull back before it can push anywhere upwards. Funny enough, we was talking to Peter about this yesterday.
Yeah. I don't know where you got that move from yesterday.
Well, it was when we were talking, when it was crunching together. I was saying I would like to see it pull back, remember? I want to see it pull back in order to bounce forward. Well, I didn't want to sit in waiting for it. And I thought, well, it's going to be a half decent move pulling back. You know, it's going to be at least 10 to 20 pips, you know, into that level that I showed. I thought, well, I'll just capitalize on it while I've got a few minutes. And pop, in it came, along with sort of cable. I mean, it shit itself, just as I suspected. Dropped like a brick. And happy days, job's done. And actually, when you're thinking about what we were talking yesterday and what we've been talking quite regular, the trades, both the trades that I took yesterday were quite easy, but they were both from the same principle of I waited for them. I didn't chase it. You know, you saw the area of attraction, you saw the area that it wanted to probe to, and you just wait for it to come. Whereas one of the parts that we have a lot with trading, and we touch on that with the mindful days, is that it's the desire that you've got to get in, and that creates a problem in itself. You know, Michael touched on it in the word of anxious. You know,
the other interest.
Set and forget.
Yeah, the other interest.
I did exactly that.
What, you were anxious and you jumped in?
Go, Pete.
Oh, okay. No, what I was going to say was
No, I didn't.
Calm yourself down there, little bloody Yoda, will you? You know, we do have a hand system. Let your elder speak.
You know, we were talking about the different charts. On the MT5 chart, the DAX yesterday, when we were talking about was it going to go from the fib I put on from the 23 maybe down to the 38, it hovered the whole time round about the 23. So I didn't really see your move on my chart.
Okay.
I mean, there was a spike, which you probably weren't paying attention when I was yapping on about something and looking at your own bladder. So okay, I'll give you that one. That was a bit.
There's nothing wrong with a bit of a yap, but where are we at? Go back to. But I guess patience is the key. Hold on. I see this little head trying to peek in.
Kevin, just tilt your camera down a bit, mate.
There he
That's better,
is.
now we can see you.
I don't know if you can ever remember when we were kids, there used to be that cartoon and it was just like two hands and there was like a bit of a nose and a pair of eyes. That's all that I saw with him.
Chad.
That was it.
That was Chad.
That was it, Chad.
Oh, Chad.
Fantastic. Poor bugger's only been in 5 minutes and we're picking on him already. Right. Can you hear us, Kevin? Yeah, good. Don't worry, we'll pick up you and all. He'll fit right in.
He's had enough of your shit already, Scruffy.
He's in the office. We've got to be careful now.
Oh no. Everybody be quiet. Everybody sort of mind your P's and Q's. You might get wrong. Oh, he's got all the gear. Yes, Kevin, we're waiting on you. Don't worry. Everybody talk amongst yourselves a second here, boys and girls. Well, we're nearly top of the hour, so not.
Scruff, I showed a bit of patience myself yesterday with cable. I traded news about 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Did you succeed?
Rather than jumping in, I did.
Good lad. Good lad.
I did trade on the fib.
Fantastic.
Yeah, you need to hotspot yourself up again, mate.
That's true. You are freezing out, little Yoda there.
I am.
Put your hotspot on with your foot. You are, but go down to the shop and buy a new one. That's nicely. I'll buy one for you.
The hills.
The hills. Well, normally I'd say the hills are alive, but where you're concerned, it's the hills have eyes.
Morning, everybody. Morning.
Morning.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you for waiting. Thank you for waiting.
You're very well, kid. You're very well. Are you at work in an office, obviously? So if we start
just
swearing,
walked in.
Can anybody hear us?
Put the headphones on.
Right,
no, not at all. You're fine, honestly.
Whereabouts are you based?
I'm currently in Sunderland.
Oh no, a Mackham.
I know.
Get out.
It's I know. I knew that was coming. Well,
I'm in Durham, so we were like the educated ones.
Yes, you're the posh ones, aren't you? Posh people.
For the bearded wonder in the corner and Don One there, he's literally 5 minutes away from my house. He's just down the road. If he's in Sunderland, he's can get into Sunderland in about 10 minutes. Coxo's where I'm at today, kid.
Right.
Bottom of the 690.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll tell you exactly where it is. Know where Durham Services are?
Yeah.
And that new estate that they built. Well, that's where I live. I live on there.
Very nice.
It's
good.
not really.
It's a nice little area, that.
It's all right.
So Kevin was right. He did say he lived in the posh bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, it's a bit. The thing with these houses is that they're made of cardboard. They're just horrid.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You hear every single noise from every single room, don't you?
Oh, just about. But you can even hear it from outside. You know, so it's just this shit.
I know what you mean.
But hey ho. We can talk building regs all day. So top of the hour, boys and girls. Who else is creeping in? Morning, Yanis. Oh, it's nice to see you with your hair. Put your radiators on and stop trying to be Justin Bieber. I watched you last night and was laughing my cotton bollocks off.
my mum said, why are you wearing a hat? I was like, it's cold. How much money do you have in your bills?
So who else have we got? Paul, Bunter, and everybody else is welcome. So happy days. Now we've got Dwayne iPhone down the corner. Now I don't know which Dwayne it is. So depending on the language that comes out of his mouth, it's either the Irish one or the American one. And if it's the Irish one, eh?
I think it's the Irish.
It's the Irish one, right? Everybody put your A defenders in because the swearing will start. Oh God, it is him. it's the hound. Here he comes. Right.
Namaste, fuckers.
There we go. 30 seconds in, it didn't take long, did it?
We're starting to get you.
Oh, okay.
Good to see you, lads. Good to see you all.
How do you do, kid? How do you do? Let me just switch this on so if anybody wants to share screens, they can, etc. Just for those that are drifting in now, I was telling the guys earlier on, obviously it's big news day today, starts at 10 a.m. with Euro news, runs up into non-farm payroll, and then from non-farm payroll runs up into a PMI at 3 o'clock. Now, non-farm is obviously the one to watch. It'll be brutal. First Friday of the year, etc., etc., etc. So just a word of caution from the news point. The rest of that, over to you. It's free for all Friday. Talk about whatever you want, whether it's the weather, as we've just discussed for the last 5 minutes, or what your plans are for the coming week or even the next coming hour. Take your pick. Nothing? Right, we'll take the piss out of Giannis because he's like the young, good-looking one.
I kind of got that Rick Astley look, you know.
The what, sorry?
You got that Rick Astley look going on at you.
Oh, Rick Astley. No, man, no. Rick Astley, sort of, he was a hero. We have to take the piss. That means he's just a
Thank you. Sounds like was a solid guy.
You're going to start Rick rolling us first thing.
Sorry, do you not know who Rick Astley is?
You have
Never
to
gonna
remember,
give
I'm
you
Greek. Right? The accent throws you off, but I'm actually Greek.
Never going to give you up.
Never going to give you up. Fantastic.
Oh, God.
You know, the disco duck. The quiff of the ultimate quiff.
The one that it comes in pranks all that time, that song comes out.
It does indeed. In fact, he was really good. But I'll tell you what, well, if you're bringing up the fact of your heritage in Greek, I'm going to play Demis Roussos all day and Nana Mouskouri.
Fair play.
You don't even know who they are, do you?
I do know Roussos.
Okay.
Wasn't Rick Astley the one where you played, if you played his LP when vinyl was a thing and it was at 33 1/3, if you played it at 45, you sounded like Kylie Minogue?
I have to try that now.
I thought you were going to say if you turned it backwards, he would start chanting or something. I thought that was, who was that actually? Which record was that?
Crazy Frog, wasn't
it? Well, it was Crazy Frog, was horrible. But there was something where if you turned the music backwards, it was satanic rites and it went to court.
Was it the Shaman or something like that?
I can't remember.
ACDC, was it ACDC or something like that?
It might have been. It was anyway. Anyway, boys and girls, we're getting off topic. No shock there then. And I know it's free for all Friday, but we meant to be trading here, and some of us might want to learn something. Or, well, I don't know actually.
I got it.
Go on then, Bunter. I saw it.
Okay. I still struggle, and I keep on reading articles, and it doesn't come any clearer. When to use Fibonacci extensions and when to use Fibonacci retracements. Now I can handle the retracements. It's the extensions when I should be. I know extensions are profit targets. But I still have
right. Oh, okay. Well, the areas of attraction. Now, if you are toying with the markets as in just numbers, and that's all you're thinking about, because that's all the market is. I mean, a pound note is just a number, right? A number is derived from ratios. So a Fibonacci is perfect for mapping that ratio out. Which was the last Fibonacci that you drew? Oh, just rough guess. It's just to give me a, because you know I don't like to cherry pick things. I prefer, you to throw something at me.
No, okay. I mean, today of interest to me is the Euro Japan or
Euro JPY,
the dollar Japan.
Dollar Japan. Okay. Give us a second. Give us a second. And we'll pick something out in the chart. Oh, what's this appy thing? It's shit. Sorry. Zoom has put on some form of app, and it has sort of little bubbles all over the place. So I've got to get rid of that. Right. Let's have a look at my notes. Okay. US JPY. Okay. All right. So if you're looking at a chart like this and you're trying to, I'll just get it to so there's nothing on it, and you're looking through it, where can I put a fit? There are two areas to look at. All right. One of them is a strong directional move, something like that, where it is sustained and in a single direction. Okay. Now, in this sort of example that we're pulling up, you can see definitive low and you can see definitive high because you can see the pullback against it. All right. So in this one here, what you were looking at is a retracement. All right. So you can see where the accelerant started down there, and you can see where it got to at the top. All right. These three candles here are kind of your clue as to giving you the top and the bottom. All right. And if you look at it, you can see the consolidation on a retracement. You'll see the consolidation here because it will work in three phases. It's the drive, the consolidation, and the drop. Okay. And then the fourth phase is the carry on. So in this instance, there's your 23, which it respected to the pip, and it had a good go at going at the 38. But the deeper drive of that is to the upper side. Okay. So if it's holding above the 50% and it doesn't get there, then you're looking for a continuation break to the top side. And how do you know that? Because it's come down, it's come back up, and it's breaching the zero. Okay. So that stays in place because these levels will respect themselves. And you're sort of looking at yourself thinking, where can it possibly go? What is the extension point on this? So you would drop in an extension. And if you take it from the same place as the retracement, up, down, and across, that gives you your extensions. And sure enough, to the pip, it's come to through the 127, it's retested it, pip, came back to that 127, almost on it, and then straight up to the pip on the 161. And that's just using a single move to map out what you're looking at based on the fact that if it isn't going into the retracement, which it's not because it's not breaching down into 50, it has to breach the top of that current move. And then the extensions gives you logical stall points. Okay. Now, the other way of doing this, and this is where today will kind of help you guys, because today is one of these events where it's an overextended candle or exhaustion candle, whatever you want to call it, but overextended. Basically, it's an accelerant that is out of the ordinary. Okay. And what happens on a situation like that, and there's kind of two of them here that I can use as an example. That candle on its own is so much bigger than what is the general candles. All right. These are sort of like the normal ebb and flow. Okay, as you can see. But then we have this bad boy out of the blue, just goes mental. All right. And what that means is there was a lot of activity at that point, you know, in this case, buying. it pushes up so quickly, it'll catch a lot of people off guard. All right. Now, there'll also be profit taking and opposing positions, and that's why the retracement works. But the candle on its own can also be a fib. All right. Now, in a situation like this, where it's not retracing too much on itself, which it isn't, you can put your retracement on and have exactly the same principle. You know, so you can go, right, okay, there's my exact same principle, but it's not coming really to the 23. Okay. I want to see how far the next move is going to be. All right. This is on us from a single candle. So if I take that fib off and I drop on an extension on that single move, we're going to see how much steam is left within this. Well, straight up to the 161. And then the 261, which is above it, again, it's mapped out the moves because it's just ratio after ratio. And that's it. But you got to pick and choose your battles with a fib. You can't just throw them on willy-nilly. If you were to say, put a fib on that move there, it wouldn't hold a great deal of weight because there's no real volume in that market. All is there is just standard movement and it's just chugging along. But if you see an accelerant like this, or even like this one here, what that does is it shows where the ratios are, because those ratios need to be counterbalanced. Now, when I've listened to Yanis, he'll talk about fair value gaps and various things like that. What a fair value gap is, it is basically people being caught off guard. And that has to be rebalanced, as they call it. But basically all it is it's profit taking and people caught on the other side, which naturally pulls the market back. And a market, if you look at sort of a Bollinger Band or anything like that, will try and find middle ground. And that's why the 50 becomes important. It's the pivot point of the move. And that's it.
Okay.
So fibs are great as long as you can identify the move. And the move is basically, well, I call it a sore thumb. If it sticks out of the ordinary, then something's going to happen. If it retraces to 23, fabulous. 23 can become your entry. The 38 can become your risk-free. And your 50 can become your upper target, and the 61.76 the trailing target. If it comes to the 23 and doesn't really do anything, then it goes back to the top of that said move. You put your extension on and you see where the next sort of flotation is going to be. Does that sort of help-ish?
Yeah, no, it does a lot, actually. Yeah.
So that's my take on sort of a fib. Happy days. Does that lot make sense to you lot? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I was confused about that myself, so being a newbie. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've obviously watched a lot of the videos, but I don't know whether there's something that's kind of maps out a process. You know, sort of step one, you should be marking up the chart. Step two, you should be looking for that. Is there something like that on the channel that I should be looking for?
All the modules in Plus goes from start to finish.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
But basically, if you can imagine a funnel, all right, and what you're doing is you're working your way down the funnel, all right. So the first thing you want to be doing is, this is my perspective. We all have different ways of trading, but this is my thought process, and then you look and jump in with yours. But I will start with a markup, and that'll go monthly, weekly, daily only. That's all I'll mark up. All right, because those levels will ripple through naturally to low time frames. And I know a lot of people, and I've had this out in the past, will go, why are you looking at a monthly? It's miles away. I look at a monthly because of the strongest levels on the chart, and it'll be the same place on a monthly as it is on a minute chart. And if I see a price coming into that level, I know there's a reaction. That's why they're there. I then want to verify whether those levels are valid. So I will now, sort of running on from Bunter there, apply fibs to the monthly, weekly, daily. And if you ever watch me mark up, it's quite spooky how often they verify key levels. And then those levels become absolutely cast iron. Okay, so that's my first thing. That's me setting up the chart. Then when I go to read a chart, again, I'm looking at a power of 3 situation, because I work things in threes. I look for what's called the deep trend, and that's what the markets try to do over a long period of time. I'll be looking for that trend in a monthly, weekly, daily. Now you can use a MACD for a quick eye shot, but you've still got to read it and look at how the market is performing. And I'll decide whether across the three, the dominance is to the upside, the low side, or whether it's all over the place and just flat. Okay. So I have that in my mind. I then drop it from a day chart, 4 hour, an hour, to see what they're doing as a correlation in the same principle, to see if that's all going in the same direction, all going down, up, or flat. That'll give me what's happening today. Okay. And then from there, when I'm looking to enter, once I've decided that I've got a direction, I'll then sort of move it down into the next three, you know, which I can trade that down into a 5 minute. So you can see I look at an hourly 15.5 just to fine tune it. And then if they're all moving in the same direction, I've kind of got a dominant direction for the day. So that's my first process. That's my pre-market sort of picking a pair, if you like. Okay. And this is after I've done all the strengths. Now, once I've done that and I want to go to market, I then apply what's called +1, -1. I'll look at an hourly chart. That's what I'll monitor. And I want to see movement in that hourly chart. I'll keep an eye on the chart above it, which is the 4 hour, to see if there's some kind of correlation, because I want them kind of singing off the same hymn sheet. And if they are, and I'm happy, I'll then do -1 down onto a 15-minute chart to see if it's singing the same song as well. And if I can see the movement, then I'll go to market. And that's my process of working my way down. So when you see me on a 5-minute chart, I've probably spent a good hour to 2 hours prior figuring out whether or not I'm going to enter that market in the first place. Whereas I think a lot of newer traders, they just switch the laptop on and go, well, I'm here. Give me a trade.
Yeah.
You know, what's going on here? You know, why haven't I got a trade? I'll tell you what, I'll look at the 1 minute chart. There's got to be a trade on a 1 minute chart. And trust me, you'll find a trade on a 1 minute chart in a heartbeat. Won't be the right trade, but you'll find a trade. But that's because you focus your eyes into that. But if you are trading a 1 minute chart, there's nothing wrong with it really. But for me to analyze a 1 minute chart, I find is way too noisy for me. So I need to look higher up. So that's my process. What is it you guys do? I mean, I can tell you a quick, easy way to do it. You know, just look at the daily. If the daily's happy and you think it's going up, wait for the hour to be going up as well. If the hour's going up, you've got a synergy between the two, and then just drop it into a lower time frame just to jump on board. That's the quickest and easiest way to do it. You know, but if you try it a minute, you work up. Yep, go on.
Yeah, I've been looking at pivot points.
Pivots are really good as well.
Yeah, and it's quite amazing how they do find difficulties sometimes to go. If it's going up, they find difficulty to breach the first one.
Well, let me
and therefore
pull the pivot up while we're talking. Go on, keep going.
And so therefore, if it gets stalled at R1, I look for a break through that and see if there's enough room to go up to R2. But again, making sure the daily, the 4 hour and the 1 hour are all on the same direction with the MACD. I've been finding that quite useful as well. It gives a quick roadmap of where the day's action may be.
It is.
So
Now,
this
is a good example here. Now, first thing you want to be doing is you need your dominance, and the dominance, or the double D, dominant direction in place first. Okay. And then that'll give you an idea of a good target or a conservative target. Right. Now, if you're just using a pivot, there's a couple of things. You can just drop on a standard moving average. This is sort of a simple way to trade this. Right. So at this point, there's your 200 here. There's your 20 there. That's giving you a direction dominance to the upper side, because basically the moving averages are telling you that. It's a very simple way of doing it. So that'll give you an idea of direction. And the rule of thumb with a pivot is, if it opens above the pivot, it'll try R1 first. If it opens below the pivot, it'll try S1 first. But you've also got to water it down a little bit, because if you just rely on the pivot, then it's like everything else. It's not telling you the whole picture. So in this example here, it's just basic technical analysis of, right, my 20 is above my 200, gives me a direction. The next piece of information is it's opened here above the pivot. So my next logical point is, as long as I've got enough space to get to R1, I've got a target and I'm going with the flow. And sure enough, it's opened above. There it is, there, straight in. Then the next question is, has it got enough power to get here? And that's where your levels come into place. Because the least barriers if there's just free air there, then it'll probably try and get there. But if you had a solid level, say there, just for stupidity, that becomes a barrier. So you have to wait to see what happens with this, because the price can easily go up, kiss it, and then just shoot away back down into the pivot. And then obviously as it comes back down, your moving averages are going to pull down with it, because all the moving average is going to do is follow the price. And because they are incredibly lagging, they sometimes can throw you out the equation. All right. So your levels become important. So it segues back to what I was saying at the start: high time frame principles on low time frame entries.
Yeah, I've put in the weekly and daily levels as well.
The levels from the prior day and the prior week are excellent. If you don't know how to mark a chart, they're ideal, because they are key revisiting points. And they're also high enough in the chart that you know you've got a lot of weight on them as well. Whereas if you did sort of say, I don't know, you're looking at a 5-minute chart and you mark up the last hour, high, low, open, close, it doesn't really hold a lot of weight, to be honest. It's paper thin, it'll just blow through it.
And they're objective as well. There's no...
Well, there isn't, because and that's where you've got to be able to use the right tool at the right time. Now, a pivot is ideal at the beginning of the day to help you mark up, give an idea of where the market is roughly going in the first stages of it. Your levels, well, I have my levels marked up on a weekend, ready for the entire week. I don't need to look at them again, so they're already cast in stone. And then fibs, I adjust them each day on the hourly chart. They give me good ratios, a little bit like what I've just shown you. If I can see a strong directional drive on an hourly chart and I've got my fibs in place, it's I did the cable trade yesterday, and it was bang on to those fibs that I put in, you know, and it paid me quite well. So that's it. Nice simple way of doing things.
If you look at cable now with the dominant direction, like MACD would say the dominant is up, but looking at fibs, I would say it's down.
Right. Let's have a look.
Guys, I've just got to bail to pick some keys up. So have a great weekend, all.
Have yourself a great one, kid. See you soon.
Yeah.
Thanks.
See you,
Okay,
mate.
Right. Okay. You've also got to know when to use certain things as well, Michael, because if you're looking at MACDs, what you're looking for is gentle trends. So this situation here is, well, I'll find a better example. When it's like that, okay, where it's nice and meandering, and it's, or even this, where it's just meandering about, the MACD can cope with it. It can see what's going on. But if you come down into that, where it's basically just a colossal sell-off, there isn't an indicator that can keep up with it. It'll throw you out. Okay, even the Bollinger Band in this point will be thrown out of, because it's just a natural drop. It's a falling knife. Now the only way you can kind of combat that is with the fib. You know, the fib will show you what it's trying to achieve. Now we put this in reverse, and we look at this. We can see this is the trade that I took yesterday. I took the fibs from here, okay, because I could see its top hadn't been broken, not really. There's been no closes above it, and there was nothing below it, okay, and there was a clear accelerant. Okay, so if you draw your fib on, and then we'll put on some other indicators as well. Okay. There's your fib, and then if we transpose that straight through, okay, it's giving clear. I mean, the 76, well, I'll turn it upside down just so you don't get confused. And that'll save me putting on the, an extension as well, to be honest. Okay, so run that through over there. Okay, so that ran down. We can see that it came up to the 50, but it failed to breach the top. Consolidation, staying within that move, and this was the bit that I was watching, and then kaboom, caught that, paid me as a happy boy. Then what it's tried to do, it just went on a Murray sell-off, okay, and that Murray sell-off was reacting to what happened over here. Okay, it's starting to find the orders under here, find the orders up there, and it's now trying to find the orders under here as well. Now this has a high probability of pushing down to this 27 here.
Exactly.
Now if I put a line on there and then run that backwards in time, let's see where this starts to line up. Okay, so it's now giving you this area to play with. Okay, this is where it is now. All right, so what's happened in and around this area? All right, we have a fib point here. That one comes down, run that backwards. Okay, that's your zone here. All right. Now, all you've done there is you're looking for high probabilities of to where this market will probe. Well, that's the lower point. So there's a swing here. Okay. This could be where the tails are for the move that's coming in right now. Has it got the power to get all the way down to here? We don't know. but it could do. Let's have a look at a 4 hour, see what it has to say. You know, let's put this. So sometimes you just go back in time to see what's going on. There's your cluster where it was last time. I don't think it's going to get down into these, but that swing, this one and this one, could be good targets. And that's where you start thinking, all right, what's the MACD doing? Can the MACD show any signs of weakness? Where if it is, this becomes a good buying zone. But you would need to see some form of movement. So let's drop some MACDs on.
And I was also looking at the monthly, weekly, daily, and they're more like conflicting.
Well, that's what we're going to check right now. But basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to map areas of interest and then make a decision once it gets into those areas as to what the chart might possibly do. Okay, so if we look at, say, a monthly perspective, it's starting to move up. Okay, you can see that here. And it is sure enough moving up. I'll just clean these off for now. Okay, and you can see that's pushing up. So it's not uncommon that that might push down a little bit to scream up. It's what markets do. They can't move in a single direction forever. All right. So the tops of there could be a target. All right. But it's a month. Take ages to do it. Okay. So that's up. What's the weekly say? Well, the weekly start of showing you it is up, but it is curling down. All right. So again, is there anything here that can tell you? Well, this week it's telling you it's selling off. All right. Yep. Well, if it's going to sell off, where's it going to sell off to? Well, if it's that, it's here, which runs across the top of there. So let's just.
It's also the bounce off the 50% dip of the weekly, the top over there.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll just quickly build it up here, just running it down. So that can be a clean target point. What's a daily doing? The daily's confirming this is pushing down. All right. So what you had there, you got your monthly saying it's going up, or it looks reasonably up. Okay. The weekly showing some form of retracement, and the daily's confirming that retracement. All right. Well, if that's coming down, it is quite a ways down. You know, it's let's have a look, measuring tool. Right, that's not out of the ordinary. 220 pips. Okay, it's like basically a couple of days move. And because of the news events today, that might even be today. Okay, it's not out the ordinary for cable to move 200 pips on a big news day. But where does that level line up to? Well, it's these cluster points. All right. Yep. Now what we're looking at, 4 hour. Same principle. Well, that's heavily down. Okay. It's no shock because of this. It's out of the ordinary. All right. Now, again, you've got the accelerant there to catch the bases of these. So is this an area of interest? Well, it is. You know, you can clearly see that. And then you can clearly see it's been steadily moving down. So you're adding weight again. All right. The higher time frame is predominantly down. This is down as well. What we're doing pretty much now in the here and now. Well, in the here and now, it's tried to push up, but it's rolling over. Again, telling you this is going to move down. So you then start thinking, well, all right, well, if it's going to move down, how far is it going to move down? Segues right the way back to Bunter, asking about an extension. Well, you've made a decision at this point. Put your extension back on. and then you start dropping some levels of attraction that you can work to. It's kind of here, here, and here. And then the next one's all the way down there. You know, so that's boom, boom, boom. Lots of areas of attraction, assuming it breaks through
break off the
that. So this is your key battleground at the moment. Okay. And then you've just got to make a decision as to, well, do I think this is going to go further down, or do I think it's going to get into here and then return, or this way and return? We don't know. But the one thing we do know, if you've got a strong move like that, there's going to be some form of reaction to it. And if there's going to be a reaction to it, well, there's your 50% there. And if I just take this off and I put on a standard retracement, and we were talking earlier on about when and how to use these things. If that's locked in stone, which it is, because you've got 3 phases of a fib, you've got the drop, the consolidation, and then either the retracement or the extension. They're the 3 phases. This becomes the pivotal point. In other words, if it breaks this, it closes below that 0, where you're not moving to this, or that's the sensible play. Because what it's done is, you've gone down the time frames with the MACD, boom, 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 building up a picture. And this now confirms that downward move. Well, the free air point is there, as long as you haven't got a support and resistance in the middle. So you let it fall down, or you trail down into it. However, it goes the other way, which it is doing. It's showing signs that it's trying to push up. So as long as that doesn't breach, this becomes the pivot, and you're looking for an upward move to here. Get it risk-free, get some more off here, here. But what you're doing with the retracement there is you're kind of going against your higher time frame analysis. So you have to be conservative with your target, because you're going against it. So if you get in and you get your 10 pips, brilliant. Be happy, be proud of it. But if you're going with this, you're going with the flow. That there is a bigger target. You can hold out that little bit longer for it. I mean, that's a very watered version, but does that make kind of sense? As you're building pictures all the way to make a decision, but you're also trying to frame that decision in a conscious way. You know, and that's sort of my take. But what's that, Sally?
We just on the platform I'm using at the moment. When I've put the pivots on, it shows there must be a setting on it. It shows historical pivot points.
Yeah, you just take
when I've marked up on cable, it's heading towards historical S3 points. How are these something we should be looking at as well when you use a pivot? These historical ones on the
well, your pivots are really just
all seems to be marked.
If I click this on, I should be able to show you. Oh, that's the fib. Sorry, that was the fib. Where's the pivots? Show historical. There you are. All right. For me, they just become messy. Pivots are ideal for the here and now. Your levels are going to show you these points. They're naturally going to show you these points. And again, if I was to leave something, because we've run over again, what you're always trying to do is find free air. You want no resistance in the movement of the chart. Okay, so in this instance, if you start piling on historical pivots as well as your levels, as well as your Bollinger Band, as well as everything else, the chart just becomes choppy. Okay, So for me, it'd be easier just to go, well, that's my daily pivot. I'm happy with that. All of these have all been done and dusted. The next pivot to look at is maybe the weekly pivot. And then that would give you a nice area to look at as well. But it's like everything else. You can put too much on your chart, Steph. I would keep them pretty much as clean as you can. Okay.
Scruffy, just a quick one on that, where you said earlier, if it opens below the pivot point, it'll probably go to the S1 or go up to the R1.
Correct.
Having a look at that chart when you did it with the fibs and then you put the pivots on, the S1 is down near the 127, wasn't it?
Let's have a quick look.
That's correct.
Let's have a quick look.
So would that add
And
weight
the 161 is
going down?
S2.
Put my pivot back on. There we okay. There we go. There you are. So happy days. Open below, all the strength is low, break that. Well, you're right. But what you find, it's a little bit like what I was trying to say to Steph, you can start putting on way too many things on the chart. So use either or. And if you're looking at this, they're pretty much in the same place anyway, because pivots are just made up of ratios exactly the same as fibs. It's all it is. It's just a high, low, open, close, divide by however, whether it's a 4 or a 3. Gives you a ratio of what those are, and then it'll naturally give you the extension points. And then there you go, there's the S3 out of whack. So that might just be coincidence. But if I'm looking at a chart, I find a fib is far more accurate than a pivot.
No, I was just wondering whether you could use that as adding more weight to it.
You can,
on
but
the down.
but then it's how many layers do you want to put onto the chart? If you put the historical data on, if we click this on historical, then you can say, well, yesterday my S1 was up here, and it's close to that level, so obviously it's right. But these are just sitting in thin air. And then if we go further back in time, this is like a very tight range. You know, so horses for courses, I think, kid. Horses for courses.
Just on looking at it, for me, look at it, I'll be probably looking at a shorting this at some point. But with it being NFP today, is
well, you've got to remember it's Friday today as well. Friday is a horrible day to trade. It'll try and do things, but at the moment, this market looks like it's pushing down. But you've got all of the accelerant above it as well for a retracement. So if it doesn't do anything this morning, I would kind of wait till after non-farms have happened and then see what happens, because this could easily scream down to go straight back up.
Yeah.
You know, because it is pushing heavily to the downside, and it's been selling off most of the week, as we've seen. It's been pretty brutal. They're going to want that money back. You know, they're going to want profits, and that's what they do on Friday. Yeah. You know, it's money in, money out, all that sort of stuff. Shake it all about.
I found when I've traded on these type of days and tried to get my sort of pips in early, it's just never happened. It's taken so long to get to my target point. It's never reached it. I've ended up stuck in a trade just before the news is coming out, and I've had to cut it short or ride it through.
Well, that again
it-
comes down to
it's-
self-discipline and management.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I try to be away from it a good hour before the news comes in. If I'm in it and I'm stuck with it, then I've probably made some mistakes. And it's not something, because as soon as that announcement comes, it's all merry hell, because you can't predict it.
Yeah.
You know, and the accelerant is that quick. If you're riding tight stops, it'll wipe them out. Even if you're right, it'll still wipe them out.
Yeah.
But there we go.
No, I don't touch it now. I wait till after trade
Super.
the aftermath.
Well, it's certainly the safer way. And again, it comes back to, once you've seen the move, well, at least you've got data that you can work with. You can see what it's done. And then you're either going to go with the move or you're going to take the retracement when it exhausts, because it will exhaust. It has to. You know, very rarely it goes out the gate and just keeps on going. You know, it's a rare case. But if it does, that's where you've got to have the sense to go, well, I'm wrong. Get out. You know, and you're better off in a slap in the face and a kick in the bollocks. All right. So there we go, boys and girls.
Scruff, I know you're over time.
We
I know you're
are
over time, Scruff. I just had a question for you, and I'll make it quick question, and we can go. Do you ever use any kind of when you're looking? You've been using the river a lot and very successfully. So I've just gotten away from scalping, gotten away from it. You know, it just doesn't make sense to me anymore. So thanks for the river strategy. It's working well.
Well, that is there. This is when I come into charts on a morning. The first thing I'm doing is I'm looking at this share account, which is what's here.
It's grand.
There it
really
is.
cool.
There it is. There. These might look rough, but this account is well up, and even now, while these are setting in, it's still positive, and it's all based.
Have you, over the time of using the river, have you added things like a MACD or anything for confluence, or do you just stick to your
I did the absolute opposite. Actually, I stripped it back.
Great. Yeah.
I used to have all sorts like that on the chart, and then that is there. It's in play. This is it.
Yeah, that's how it looks now. It works great. It really does. And the losses are small. As long as you manage your lot sizes, it's easy.
Well, that's the key point, because by nature of sort of your entry points on these things, your stop's going to be underneath the river. And then all you have to do.
I give it a few ticks to play. That's it. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Thanks a lot.
These are what are going to help you rather than a MACD.
Yeah.
All right. So every time it comes up to a level, take 10% off. Let it go to the next level, take 10% off, and eventually you've got a little bit left, and you just let it go for as long as possible.
Yeah, I put the hybrid module in my favorites. I watch it over and over again.
Yeah. So in answer to that question, it was kind of less is more. I stripped it back. I'll quickly explain where it came from, and then we'll wrap this up for you. The RSI is slowed down so that there has to be massive strength in the market to push it over the 50. All right, so that's the point with that. Then the river is helping define the direction by whichever side of it you're on, and the ribbon creates a buffer zone so that if it is going to pull back and it's going to dance around the moving average, because we see that as well, where it round and retests and then decides to bugger off, you know, you need to absorb that. So it just gives you that little bit of push over. And then if you combine the two together within a 3 candle period, you'll often find you've got momentum on your side and you've got the direction on your side. And your worst case scenario is it's only going to go to the first level. But if you go to the first level, take some money off, pull it to break even, that's it. And then if it goes up to the second level, well, your stop stays where it is, and you just carve all the way up. So does that make sense?
Working great. I just want to say thank you, because it's working great. I want to say thank you. It's the easiest thing I've done and I'm finally profitable. And answering the question in the forum the other day, I'm finally profitable. And because
You're finally profitable. B is on you then. B is on you. Right. Okay, boys and girls.
Thanks, Scott.
10 to 9. Fortunately, it's Friday, so I don't do a lot anyway. So not to worry. I do have
When
a
you leaving?
meeting
When you go on your vacation? When you
Tuesday.
take off Friday?
Tuesday.
Oh, great. Okay.
We'll be here Monday,
Have a great trip.
Tuesday. I'll be off the Wednesday. I'm flying. Thursday, I'll be pissed. Friday, I'll log on, and what I'll sort of be able to stick 2 fingers up at Don 1 there and show my sunshine. And the chances are I'll probably log on Monday as well, and then I'll be back. I'll be off Monday, off Wednesday, back Thursday, because I tried to go midweek to break it up. Oh, I'm gonna have a jolly old time. Taking Sally.
Stick your toes in the sand for the rest of us.
Right. Everybody good? Everybody happy?
Thanks very much, Scruff.
Yep,
Thanks
thanks,
as
Scruff.
always.
Cheers, Scruff.
Anytime.
So,
Have a good
Any-
weekend.
Good luck, everyone.
Everybody have a good
weekend.
one.
All right.
Catch us
Everybody have a
all
good
soon.
weekend.
Good weekend.
All right.
Good to see you.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.